All right, so the Commanders are 4-7. Game day tomorrow on Thanksgiving. How could they pull off the upset? To me, it comes down to one thing. You got to find a way to negate Micah Parsons in the pass rush. Then you have a shot. Like, I don't know how you're going to slow down the Cowboys' offense. We talked about it. Both Valdez and I believe that Dak's going to have a big day. He's been having big days of late against any defense. Now he's facing a defense that made Tommy DeVito look good. But you have to stop Micah Parsons, who's been on fire of late. I think he had 2.5 sacks on Sunday. I think he's likely to feast against the Commanders. But if they can scheme their way around Micah Parsons, then you have a shot to get something done offensively, and you have a shot to compete in the game.
I feel like tomorrow could be like one of these signature Micah Parsons moment type games where he has 3.5 sacks, just wreaking havoc all over the field. Like, you have to prevent that from happening if you're the Commanders. Easier said than done, but if he comes out of tomorrow with 2 sacks or less, I feel like that's a win for the Commanders. Because I feel like he has the ability and the opportunity, obviously, to detonate against this Commanders' offensive line. So if they get 2 sacks or less out of him tomorrow, I feel like that's victory/moral victory for the Commanders. On the other side, I think it's critical for the Commanders to bring the same sort of pass rush that they did against Tommy DeVito to Dak Prescott, because Dallas has done a really good job of keeping Dak upright in the last 2 games. Hasn't been sacked once in his last 2 outings. So Dallas has clicked on something. Now, I'm sure some of it has to do with the opponents they played in the last 2 weeks. They played Carolina. They played the Giants in the last 2 weeks. Those teams are not toward the top of the league in pass rush. But you can't just let Dak sit back there and not get sacked throughout an entire game. If that happens, he'll pass for close to 500 yards in this game tomorrow.
They did have 9 sacks, right? But to me, a lot of that was Tommy DeVito.
Sure, it definitely is.
Tommy DeVito ran into a couple sacks, but what I liked is Jack Del Rio was bringing pressure from other guys, and I do think you have to be encouraged with KJ Henry's play, not only in this game, but remember, the one game where they had no sacks, he actually had a sack. He just, according to the referees, didn't land properly.
Right.
So I think it's encouraging what you're seeing out of KJ Henry, but I wouldn't put too much stock into that 9-sack game.
No, I'm not expecting them to get 9 sacks against Dak Prescott or anything close to that, but you have to make him uncomfortable. You can't let him get through a game unscathed, or he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns and like 400-plus yards.
800-636-1067. What do you expect from this game tomorrow, and how could Washington pull off the stunner on Thanksgiving?
And by the way, I'm praying for the souls of the Commanders' DBs and hoping for them that CeeDee Lamb has a hiccup like he did this past weekend. Now, he did find the end zone, but he wasn't a huge part of the offense because, let's be honest, the Cowboys looked at the Panthers and said, well, we're just going to run on you because everybody runs on you. Didn't have to throw the ball a ton. But in the 4 previous games before the win against Carolina, here are CeeDee Lamb's yardage totals: 151, 191, 158, 117.
He's been on fire.
What is he going to do to this Commander secondary that had guys from the Giants running wide open and wild this past weekend at FedEx Field? I think it's a big CeeDee Lamb day.
Oh, you think CeeDee Lamb's better than those nubby receivers on the Giants?
Yeah, I think he's a little bit
You like him better than Jalen Hyatt?
I think he's a little bit better than Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton.
Right.
I think he's a few cuts above those guys.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten as much attention as Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown. But when you look at the numbers, all right, Tyreek Hill has kind of separated himself. He has 1,200-plus yards. But CD has the same number of yards as A.J. Brown on the season. He's having a really good year.
He's got 74 grabs, over 1,000 receiving yards, and he's found the end zone 5 times, including 4 times in the last 4 games.
Let's go to the phones, 800-636-1067. Eddie's in Centerville on line 1. Happy Thanksgiving, Eddie.
Good morning, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody there.
What's up, Eddie?
I'm trying to decide how to word this correctly with my Commanders and how they're going to beat the Cowboys. And I'm just going to go back to the fact that the 2 games they lost against the Eagles and against Cardinals, I think it was a dominant run game by both teams. I think the Cardinals had like 3 players over 50 yards rushing. So if we can somehow maintain the ball, run the ball, and not let them score 43 points like they did against the Rams, or 49 against the Giants, or 33 against the Panthers. As long as we keep it in those, high teens, low 20s throughout the games, throughout the fourth quarter, I think we have a shot at the end. That's asking a lot from those D-backs.
It's asking a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, Eddie. Have a good Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
By the way, of the Thanksgiving Day slate of 3 games, Commanders-Cowboys has the highest total at 48.5. The Packers-Lions is 2 points below that at 46.5, and the nightcap is 43.5 between the 49ers and the Seahawks. So they're expecting a lot of scoring and some fireworks coming from the Cowboys-Commanders game on
Is Geno playing?
Thursday. It looks like Geno should be a go, even on a short week. Though we'd have to go to our intrepid Seahawks reporter, Drab T-shirt, to get an update.
He's on the phone.
I'm sure he has the latest.
Let's go to Dennis in Rockville on line 4 real quick. Dennis, got a minute. What's going on?
Okay, Dennis from Reston. Anyway.
My bad.
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah, anyway. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to go out there. We're going to try real hard for about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe a quarter.
4 minutes.
And then we all know what's going to happen. So Dallas is going to come in, and they're going to start just having a field day with our offensive line. Nobody's going to be open, and their offense is going to score a ton of points. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to be another week. And
thank you, Dennis. We actually asked for calls. We asked for calls on how they could pull off the win, and he just immediately went into 4 minutes of competitiveness.
Well, that's what he's programmed for. That's what he's used to.